Oh, my lands, here we are with another episode. I'm so excited to have you back. My name is Jay Connor, the Private Money Authority, and I'm excited to announce we are launching our fifth year here with the show. I have amazing guests come on, and today's no exception. Get ready, put your seatbelt on for an amazing show today. My very dear friend and special guest, he actually started his professional career with a civil design engineering job, twins, two master degrees, six figures of debt, but he's always had a burning desire to serve others. Well, 16 years later, he actually opened the door and cut the ribbon on his development of a $17 million, 72,000 square feet, 113 bed assisted living facility. Well, then from there, he parlayed his success into a Staten Island waterfront development, and he also began his journey working with Tony Robbins. Well, while attending one of Tony's events over there in Hawaii, my guest waterfront development was terminated due to the World Trade Center tragedies. Well, folks, the reason this is important is because my special guest knows how to persist and move forward in the midst of difficulty. He's got a ton of experience in syndication, and we're going to talk about what syndication is. So alongside the syndication and development of over, listen to this, $1 billion, that's with a B as in boy, of over $1 billion of high profile real estate investments. In addition to that, he wholesaled 137 deals in 1 year as a co-founder of Flipping USA. Well, simply put, my friend and guest is a titan in the world of real estate, responsible for over $1 billion of construction across dozens of projects. And let me tell you, my friend and guest has forever changed what the New York skyline looks like. Well, in addition to that, he and I have got something in common. Both of us are magicians, and so he is an unsung hero in the world of stage magic. He's got amazing coin magic that I've seen, but he's been married for over 30 years, proud father of 3 talented and very successful children, and he is the best-selling international author of the book titled Modern Wealth Building Formula. And guess what? He's going to give that book away to you for free towards the end of this show. With that, welcome to the show, my good friend, Ken Van Liew. Hello, Ken. Welcome to the show.
Jay, I tell you, thank you so much. I'm like 10 times more excited today just to be here. It's, I just love always seeing you and your wife. And, this is like real relationship equity. We've had such a great relationship. We've been, just waiting to share the word and, spread some value out there to the listeners, man. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here today.
Well, I know you started way back, civil design engineering and that type of thing. But then 16 years later, you got like this huge development in real estate that you're, cutting the ribbon on. So I want to hear the story. How did you get into real estate to start with?
Great question. The civil thing, I won an award when I graduated, which planted a seed in real estate development. Fast forward, after sitting at the engineering table for about a year, I was going stir crazy, and I went into construction. I learned how to build buildings. Fast forward, because I was a real overachiever. The next thing you know, at 26, I'm building $100 million skyscraper for Bruce Ratner, the owner of the Nets, looking out at the city going, what's wrong with this picture? I just built a $100 million dollar building, but I'm 6 figures in debt. How do I do this for myself? And I couldn't sleep at night because I figured there was about 9 ways to earn fees in real estate development. And if I could just land a $10 million project, I could pay myself 5%, which to me was, a salary, a nice salary, fat 500,000. That would enable me to transition out of my job. And that was kind of how the thought started, looking out at the old World Trade Centers, back in 1992.
Right. So what got you interested in that first big project? What got you interested in the assisted living arena?
Yeah. I guess it was 99 finally, because it took me a bunch of years after that thought. Sometimes you get frozen, and I had a decent job, but I had the twins in 1992. So it kept me employed. And then here I'm sitting there, and I had a chance to go play golf one day for a free outing. Next thing you know, I'm telling someone a story, and I joined this country club. Next thing you know, I'm raising money. I get 100 grand offered to me, and I said, I'm going to try this real estate thing myself. It was a private money offer. I brought him in, gave him a first right of refusal, and I didn't really know what to do other than I went into business. I told my wife I'm going to pay myself 5 grand a month, and I was going to do this taxation filtration system where I'd make fees and I'd filter them through all these companies, pay all my bills, and I wouldn't need a lot of revenue. 3 months into that thought process at the country club that she, allowed me to borrow 5 grand to join, I convinced someone to give me $100,000. And from that, 3 months in business, I found a dentist that was telling me about a certificate of need. I wasn't even sure what it was, but he said, it will allow me to build a 113 bed assisted living here. And I had done about 1,500 units, from residential work that I had done in the past. And I was like, I can do that. Next thing you know, I'm doing an LOI on literally handwritten paper. And I was in the real estate development business, with literally 3 months out of the box. Well, then I started paying myself that fee, which was $27,000 a month. And I really never looked back.
That's awesome, Ken. And I tell you, you and I have got a lot in common. You said my favorite phrase just a couple of minutes ago, and that was raising private money. I love raising private money. And so let's talk about private money for a little bit. I mean, you've got a world of experience in the arena of syndication. We'll talk about syndication in a moment, but just in general, that first $100,000 that you raised in private money, tell us the story. What was the conversation? What was your approach? How did that come about?
Oh, great question. And I'll break it down. And, I rolled the dice and joined a country club because they had an executive special for 5 grand. And the 4th round in, I'm playing with this young kid, and he's telling me, I have all these computer guys working for me. I pay him $50 an hour and I charge $125. I'm doing the math. By the 16th hole, I'm thinking, all I got to do is offer him a first right of refusal in my development deals, and he might give me some money, So I'm thinking, and I'm going, all he could say is no, So literally, about the 17th hole, I said to him, I'm in the development business, and I'm going to be bringing deals, and I'm looking for a small group of individuals that'll be, a sister company to the parent, and those individuals and members will have a first right of refusal in my development projects. And after a couple of cocktails, he said, I would like to come on your side and fund your business and give you 100,000, and then be kind of the leader of the pack to put 10 guys together to have that first right of refusal. And it kind of happened that fast. And then, I just started to rinse and repeat that process, where my most recent private money deal, I'll tell you a little bit, it was like a quick 3.7 raise, and I was able to convince one guy to write the check. So, it's went from, the 100,000 to the $1 million checks. And it's all with that same approach, technically,
Right. Well, tell my guest, what is syndication? What do you mean? What do you mean by syndication?
Yeah, and it sounds like a complicated word, Jay, but when it was funny because I headed to NJIT in 1996 because I had just passed my PE exam. That's where I graduated engineering. But by that time, I wanted to go into real estate. So I walk across to the Rutgers library. There's a book on the shelf. It says Joint Ventures and Syndication. I didn't even know what the word meant at that time. So if you don't know what it means, don't worry about it. I knew what joint venture is, and I took that book off the shelf and I opened the book. And believe it or not, the paragraph that literally shifted my mindset was that a syndication is basically a group of people with a common, goal in mind to invest in real estate. And there's a band leader, and that band leader could be, could be a clerk, could be a lawyer, could be a banker, could be, an engineer, it could be a builder, it could be anybody. It's somebody who's good with people. and bringing them together and being able to tell a story and have gravitational pull. And of course, make a couple bucks, and it's not that hard, it's not rocket science, we've tried that already.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's funny we're having this conversation about private money. Private money for me had more of an impact on changing my real estate investing career more than anything else. And I sort of backed into it. I just didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, I think I'll go raise a bunch of private money. It's like when I lost my lines of credit at the bank back in 2008 and 2009, like everybody else,
Yep.
I had to find a better way. And they're just so, in the real world, a real estate investor is just not going to do very many deals unless they're a wholesaler, which, I don't like working for tips. But, in my single family house business, my average profits now are $71,000. So Ken, if you will allow me, I want to tell about this brand new private money guide that I just finished writing that our guests can download for free. And here's the name of it right here. It's called 7 Reasons Why Private Money Will Skyrocket Your Real Estate Business and Help You Build Incredible Wealth. I'm telling you, this book will get you on the fast track to getting private money for your real estate deals. And you can download it for free at www.jayconner.com/money guide. That's jayconner.com/money guide. That will get you on the fast track to private money and getting a lot of it very, very fast. So back to your story there, Ken. So you're doing these huge developments, right? And in the introduction that I gave about you, I mentioned that waterfront development that just like poof went away. How is it that the World Trade Center tragedies, what is it about that put the waterfront development down the drain?
Yeah. Yes. So the waterfront property, if you're familiar with the tip of Staten Island, looked out at the World Trade Center, and there was a ferry directly downtown. This building was the third of 3 buildings in a gated community. I was at the Life Mastery event with Tony Robbins celebrating. We were about ready to break ground, and the Trade Center collapsed. Essentially downtown Manhattan shut down. Everything stopped. I thought about it the other day, but everything kind of stopped. Rarely were things stopped, but that time things stopped. And essentially my investor at the time, who had about myself and him had about $500,000. We just couldn't meet our obligations because everything was shut down. So for a while there, I had to take a third party route, and I did some construction management after about 6 months of just chaos in the metropolitan area, and worked on it was like a geriatrics facility because I had that healthcare experience, and it was fortunate that time because that healthcare care experience came into play at the right time, and that's how we got through it, and then we just never gave up after that. Fortunately, I was with Tony Robbins that day. I remember him saying, hey, your feelings are going to be what you focus on. If you go back to Manhattan and sit there and watch the TV, you're not going to feel good. Especially my best friend worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, one of my best friends, Anthony Starita, and rest in peace, my friend. But it was a tough day, and I had done an internship at the World Trade Center, so it really hit home here. But what you said, it's perseverance and never giving up. Never giving up. Changing your approach because failure doesn't exist.
I love that. In fact, I say it all the time. It's impossible to fail until you decide to quit.
Exactly. You can fail measurements, right? You can fail measurements. And I just want to plug your private money program, because what I learned, Jay, is, a lot of the philosophies of and I wanted to prove it with my modern wealth building formula, which has a little bit of private money. I learned from you. But what I tested in the wholesaling side, because the philosophy is you don't need money to wholesale. What I learned is that you could, number one, use other people's money. I used to get stacks of certified checks to go to the auctions with. Use other people's money, pay them consistent 20% returns. And what that did is, since we didn't use any of our money, we were getting an affinity return, and those shekels started to add up, and you get to scale it. So, I just want everybody to know that Jay's private money techniques will work across the board. It's just like he said, it depends where you want to spend your time. If you're going to spend time, you'd rather make a phone call and ask for the $5 million check than the $100,000 check. And that's where, like I have to, I like to help people. So I'll get on the phone and say, hey, join my enterprise for this, instead of making the $10 million call. But, I have people raising money, because private money, like Jay said, changes the whole playing field. It just changes the whole playing field. Right, Jay?
Absolutely. What would you say, Ken, are some personal attributes, personal characteristics about yourself that has lended to you being successful? I mean, you talked about persevering and pushing through, but what are you like really, really good at? What's that superpower? What is it that has that? I mean, you can lose it all and you can get it all back plus more.
Yeah.
What is that?
Lately, it used to be like an operational thing. I really realized that my vision from a while ago has just reached the moon. I don't know if you remember mentioning, but we're getting ready to shoot June 10th for a national documentary that's going to go out to 60 million households, called Real Estate Today: Keys to Investing, with Dennis Quaid on a Viewpoint project. And, the attributes that brought me to that, were a lot of personal development. And my real estate success is really around sports. If I didn't take the gridiron experience, being an all-state football player, and, how to study that playbook and execute and have a team, because you can't do it yourself, it would have never happened. And then there was a time where, we all go through that phase, you are what you eat, you like to have fun. I was heavy when I went to the Tony Robbins Life Mastery program. I weighed 248 pounds. Today, I'm proud to say, like, some days I tip in at 168. I would think I was 172 today. But, the bottom line is, I have unlimited energy, and that comes from, a morning and evening ritual, and journaling, and, being consistent. One of the things I did for 30 years is, I got up at 5 o'clock and I went to Manhattan. I was through the tunnel or the bridge before 6 a.m. and building skyscrapers and working until midnight every single night, and I put the time in mainly to pay it forward, because, people just don't have that time anymore. There's so many, they didn't have social media then. They didn't have fax machines, computers. We were building skyscrapers the old fashioned way. It was like sending it by Eagle. We would send drawings, but, it was just a different world back then. And, I don't want to say the old cliches, but, look at how you block your time. Like, the key of blocking your time and going into what I call as a zone action, which you can learn a little bit about that in the book Deep Work, where when you go into a zone action, you have outcomes of like 40x. It's like mind boggling, when you wake up at 5 and you're ahead of the game 3 hours every day. You do that for 30 years, it adds up. But not everybody can do that, and that's why, guys like Jay and I, who worked like that for many, many years, are paying it forward. And I guess you can say there aren't many shortcuts in the world, but having mentors like us that are sincere, and showing you the way is about the best shortcut you can get out there.
You mentioned your morning and evening ritual. Tell me about your morning ritual, your evening ritual, and any other daily habits that lends to your success.
Yeah. I mean, there's, my first thing is, I don't get up as early, but, when I get up, I have a little, what I call is a get ready time. It's just, I guess you could say a little, spiritual, 20 minutes as 30 minutes as I'm getting dressed. And then I try to move for 50 minutes. I mean, back in the day, I'd work out hard, whether it's, some aerobics and, after that, or it'll be a run, but I don't really ever run more than like 3 miles. And then I try to meditate after that and get clear on what my outcomes are for the day, right? And it's always related to what I want, 5 or 10 years down the road, because you have to block that zone action time each day to get where you want to be 5 years down the road. And you have to get real clear on it. So each day I have this best self-code journal where I start off by writing three things that I'm grateful for. Like, my magic hands are one, like my chops are getting good there, bro. You got to see my work. And then, grateful for my parents that are still alive. And then I write like 3 things that I are going to shoot for. And then I break it down into like some bullets, and then what would make the great day. And I measure every day, Jay. I measure on a personal side and on the business side. And it's what I call as a quality quantifier. It's a fun thing, right? So I go kind of a scale from 1 to 10, how did I do on my personal life? If I, kicked the dog and yelled at my wife, maybe it's a 7, and then I go, what could have made it an 8, or what could have made it a 9? What could have made it a 10? And I do the same thing on the business side. And for years and years and years, I had someone hold me accountable with a quick call early in the morning. It's kind of ingrained in my head. And then I do one last measurement at the end of the day. I kind of look at what I had planned versus what I have done. And I do that very quick. And I started going to bed a little earlier than where I used to burn the candle on both ends. And I bought this sleep ring to kind of, get a good night's sleep. And I'll tell you, at 60 years old, Jay, I feel better than ever. I'm full of energy. My wife says no mas, and it's all good.
That's fantastic. Well, now what are you passionate about now? What projects are you working on? What's on the horizon for Ken Van Liew?
Oh, baby. I'm surprised you didn't hear the news. So we just hit the front page of the Franklin Times as the largest project in Franklin County history, North Carolina. It passed the first stage. It is over 225 units. We have 125 townhomes, 108 flats on top of retail. We have a main street with a new firehouse going in, all kinds of really nice retail. We're going to get all the big boys in there: Chick-fil-A, Panera, bakery. I have a 127,000 square foot self-storage, flex office. I got a hotel on the corner, wellness center, medical office buildings. We are killing it. I have over 1,000 unit plan down in Lewisburg downtown. I just got Chester, New Jersey approved, CVS, affordable housing, market rate housing. I just got another site next to Trump National in Bedminster, over 100 units. We're flipping at the DR Horton, 4.5 million to 12 million. And that's what I'm excited for. I'm most passionate about my daughter, my son getting married on July 4th. He is now not only an intelligence officer, but a reconnaissance officer for the U.S. Marines. My daughter married a doctor. She graduated #1, works for NYU teaching culinary medicine. And my youngest daughter just bought her first house at 24 in Connecticut. And that's what I'm passionate. And this month, June 10th, we're going to record. My organization is going to really just send out the message to the world on what the keys to investing are. And we're real excited about that.
Man, have you got it going on. Now, you've got an international best-selling book titled Modern Wealth Building Formula. Tell me about the book. What is the Modern Wealth Building Formula?
Yeah, it's literally in any real estate. I believe it's the blanket to any type of real estate, whether you're wholesale and fixing and flipping, commercial real estate. It's basically a game plan that shows you how to find, fund, and facilitate real estate, right? Facilitation is the entire process. If you go the full gamut, like, the development, my development matrix is 12 feet long. It tells you step by step by step. That's the zenith of real estate. It starts at wholesaling, right? I learned from the top down. My head works in reverse. So, I didn't learn how to build a house until down the road. But what I did is I applied my ball game stuff. There's a chapter in there that talks about baseball. We won the state championships in baseball. I was an all-state football player. You got to kind of see where you're at in the lineup. You got to look at what your approach is. There's a pregame warm-up, right? And all you're doing is learning how to find real estate. So you can find real estate through data. You can find real estate through relationships. You can find real estate the way we used to do it, Jay, like classified ads, right? But the point is that you're always learning better ways to find real estate. It's a constant, continuous and never-ending improvement. Funding, it starts private money, it's institutional money, it's so many different kinds of money. You're learning about money till now, to the, till whenever. And then the facilitation process. And that's what the book really does. It gives you a modern wealth building formula approach, which when you look at it deep down inside, it actually applies to every business. I realized by building $100 million building is like building any businesses. And then I went on to build businesses, and it's all related. Building a skyscraper is like building an extraordinary life. You have to build a foundation. You got to build a strong backbone, put a tough skin on for the weather, put the roof on, batten down the hatches, and then the elevator starts going up and down, because that's what life is. It goes up and down. Then you got to put the heart of the matter and all the mechanicals. And then the finishes are how you polish yourself and how you want to present yourself. And that's what it's all about. You could build a skyscraper just like building 30 houses on top of each other. It's called, after you build 1,500 bathrooms, anybody can do it. So it's, don't get intimidated. Check out the modern wealth building formula. Check out, Jay's private lending. They blend together beautifully.
Well, Ken, you were so kind before we started the show to offer to give your book away for free, Modern Wealth Building Formula. So here's how you get it. Go to www.kenvanliew.com/free book. Now I'm going to repeat that and spell it for our listeners to make sure they get it. So again, to get Ken's international best-selling book for free, the name of the book is Modern Wealth Building Formula. Go to www.my.ken, K-E-N, Van, V-A-N, Liew, Liew.com/free book. Just one more time, my.ken, K-E-N, Van, V-A-N, Liew, Liew.com/free book. Be sure and take advantage of that. And Ken, thank you so much for offering to give away such an awesome book and, all the experience that you've had all these years.
No, anytime. I'm really excited. We plan on just, creating a legacy. It's, there's nothing else to do at this point. And, we have to pay it forward. Another thing we're real excited about, just got my new shirt there. You could see the logo, the Global Real Estate Investment Enterprise, but that's a group now of about 80 individuals with just what I call is about the highest level of relationship equity. And what it does is it reduces friction for people that are really serious in real estate to just, accelerate at a massive level.
That is awesome. Well, Ken, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here on the show, and parting comments, my friend.
I just have to say, never give up, and always keep your dreams alive, because anything you put your mind to, you can achieve, no matter what your education is. There's so many ways to learn. The mind can answer any question. So it's really, what is the question you're going to ask yourself? And if you ask yourself the right questions, how to turn any negative into a positive, or how do I leverage the relationships I have today into my future? Those are the questions you want to ask yourself. And my last words is just make it a great day.
That's awesome. Ken, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jay. It's been my pleasure.
You betcha. But there you have it, my friend, another episode of the show. And I really appreciate you rating, subscribing, liking, sharing, review. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming shows. You get notified. And if you're happen to be listening on iTunes, I really appreciate the 5 stars and the reviews that you leave behind. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and click that bell. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, wishing you all the best. Here's to taking your business to the next level. And we'll see you right here on the next show. right, Sharif, I like the intro.